let's stick to what I know, which is on my laptop, or just do an animation.
Ryan.
Hey, the voice here.
Eating pizza.
Yeah.
Do you want pizza?
Okay, we got audio.
Or speaks. There's also punch. Both kinds.
That's true.
Just give me the word and I can turn the video on. Like, we got audio going through.
This is
This is an executive decision.
We'll just set that up first and then we'll go.
Then they're just gonna hear grumble, mumble, grumble, grumble.
Oh,
Which is fine. I'm okay with that.
do you want more pizza?
Yeah.
So go get some now.
No.
Yeah.
I don't have that full of
Well, whatever, we can just hit the video button and make the video happen.
I guess you could do this.
If you want me to, I will.
No issue. Go ahead.
Okay, well, it's going now. My bad, but that's what it is.
I guess it's all your fault.
I guess it's all my fault.
But it's all right though.
When you hit the button,
Amazing job.
yeah.
I don't got time for no fancy grid generation.
So keep it right in that notes manually. Yeah.
You're also like, you know,
Because we only got a couple minutes.
So I just want to confirm really quickly, everybody here who's presenting is good with being on the stream, right?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
If you're not, just put on a ski mask. It's okay. If you're not, go to the present back there. Yeah.
We can get appearance releases. I have a few drafts. I just have to scribble out that, like, you know, this isn't for my film. This is for the
This is also a public space.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. So.
It's not. Nate is not a public space.
Oh.
Okay.
Technically.
It is privately owned.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Drop in knowledge.
If it's on camera and you say, yeah, I can do it, it's fine. According to our teacher today.
Oh.
Like what?
Cool.
Remember Michael was like, oh, one thing was like, get video evidence of the person. I'm like, yeah, I can do that.
Oh yeah.
And so could I get everybody who's going to present tonight to raise their hands real quick? Nice.
That's a lot of lads.
That is 5, I think.
Okay.
Two more people in there?
There are 3 more people.
6 submissions, so we're just making sure, like, everybody actually does submissions here.
It's too late. No more pepperoni, unfortunately.
What?
Words have broken out. There's no more pepperoni left.
There's no pepperoni. Now we have a
Pepperoni
pepperoni.
is left of the building.
Pepperoni is that building. What's up?
They literally hold.
We got
They literally hold a slice and literally like hold the cheese ones that way. It's like.
I don't know if it's Let's see if anyone actually.
By the way, you suck it on your mind.
Oh, there's one person.
It doesn't stop. I did it. The like so. I don't care. I just don't want this subject matter being right. It's more for their safety than mine.
Oh, it's probably still already on their servers.
I can put my text on the screen. It'd be one of the events if you could do like screen
Some duct tape on it?
How?
So it's like
It's funny because we're like
if you do it now.
It's like a nice street, just.
It's funny because at like people when he came so like people will
I'm not the executive behavior.
So like we had to spend where like
usually
we had
they're always
Oh,
What is it?
that said broadcast.
we know
Yeah,
What is it?
they came into the store
at the time.
Did you make it?
and our system came in was like, hey, this bad thing, these bad people are coming in.
I just
I don't know, and do something. So all of a sudden we're sitting there.
Yeah, this is gonna be a problem.
For loss prevention to.
But we're ready to go.
Yeah,
Like, we're over here waiting. It is 5 after 6,
Like,
so
they just walked out, like, literally they injured, it was that quick.
Do you want to make me up?
It's something where it's like, this is.
The emotional labor I have to do.
You ready to start?
That's a pretty good
As long as you
announcement.
sing, you're always
Yeah.
gonna win.
You got parlay.
The best one is like, we had a kid,
I don't know if I should do this.
So guess what? We have to approve our presentations.
What?
1 minute remaining.
I
Ooh.
love that.
Right. What's the what?
Just because
I like
just
that.
because we want to actually like have a bit of time
So
to
you
like
know, I know it is.
play.
I think it's one of
Every
those.
presentation is about 15 minutes at most.
I think
shit, I
I got
forgot
the
there's
content.
I thought we were going with
I got 5 minutes, that's what I got.
There are, I think, 5 of the 6 people who submitted a game that are actually wanting to showcase them here tonight.
Yeah,
So,
15 minutes.
yeah.
I'm not gonna
Or-
take 15 minutes.
Or is an
Same.
hour plus
I
one.
got like 5 minutes content max.
Okay, I don't know. I just redid the math on my own and then made that executive decision and then,
Hours going to your head.
I guess. You guys already had that sorted out. Anyway,
Back to you guys.
Back
Thanks,
to you.
Carly.
yeah,
Thanks, Carly.
I'll be here all day.
Ouch. Us
So-
too.
So good evening, everybody. I hope you all had a safe time getting here and a good day beforehand. If not, we're hoping to change that around real quick. Pizza, I think, should be one of the immediate bonuses. But hey, welcome to our Fall 2019 Game Showcase. So this is to showcase some of the amazing games that our club members have been working on this semester and hopefully get a chance to try them out. So with that in mind, do you have anything you'd like to say, El Presidente?
Yeah. So it seems like we're going to be doing 5 or 6 presentations right now of games, 15 to 20 minutes each, and other than that, it should be good to go. So I think Brady's ready to go up first, followed by Jeff, and then we can decide after that later.
I want to be third.
if they're short,
Up so far, yes.
Shorter, longer, whichever you prefer.
Where we have the room till 9, but I mean,
Yeah.
Mine only works with key control. There's one part that
Are they both both of them should function.
Nice, let's give it
Well,
a try.
Do you have a test case?
Yeah, you wanna do it?
Well, what
I was just gonna ask
screen that- yeah,
you're
yeah.
off.
And the other thing is just like,
I don't know, I think we
they
should
should
do
do
it, leave it out to the crowd.
Okay. Sure, I guess.
But like,
I'll, yeah, I'll stay.
the big thing is just
Do
like,
you want me to start like for you?
I got it working, and it works well, and it's in a place where like,
And you
Oh,
just
like,
press
move forward.
your left turn and
and
PC
I'm not
switch
there.
from camera.
This is the one thing I need to
Oh,
change.
Once you start on the left.
Because I'm using the mouse position.
Gamers!
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Brady!
me. I'm Brady. I made a game.
Oh, that's a sweet game, I like that one. Ah, yes, I love it.
It's not called Brady's Game. Austin just said it'd be better if I introduced it by title. How it worked is I had an idea, but it was only the name. And then I did something else but still used that name. So, my game is called Divine and Concubine.
Oh,
Because it sounds like divide and conquer, that's it. That's all there was to it. And I didn't make that one, but it lives on. What I did try and do is I wanted to do, because it was divide and conquer. Now, I don't know how y'all felt about that theme. It was alright. I got it done.
Thanks for the feedback. We just made a random list.
Yeah, I know you do that, and
Had, like-
nothing against you, but boy, that's a bad list. I said nothing against you. It's the list's fault.
Whose idea was it, by the way? I'm just curious. I'm trying to remember. Oh, it was yours.
You fool!
Wow, Nick.
I love you, Nathan.
I actually like the theme.
Yeah, but I made a divide and conquer thing. I had a lot of trouble with it, so there's a lot of it that doesn't work right now. But I made sure I got it to actually work before we started. One thing I had trouble with is because I wanted to use controllers because you can move around and you can also look. So I was like, analog sticks would be lovely for that. But turns out different axes mean different things per controllers. Like button 0 on an Xbox controller isn't always going to be the same as button 0 on a PlayStation controller. And I only tried a little bit to key map, but it doesn't work. So if you go to the options, you can see my attempt to make it key mapping, but it doesn't. It just doesn't work. But it is what it is, so it only works with Xbox controllers right now. If you use a different controller, the key bindings just might be a little messed up. It works. It also is only a 2-player game, so I was going to ask if anyone wanted to try this with me. I see a hand. You want to join me here, Freddie? What's your name?
I am Adam.
Hi, Adam. I'm
This is now a AA meeting.
Get in there. Alright. Did I put the controls in anywhere? No. Oh, I put them on the page.
I'm figuring
Alright.
it out, don't worry.
You move around. You can look.
Oh,
Yeah.
right bumper.
You
goes
can
on.
switch. You have 3 characters,
Oh.
and you can
Ooh,
switch between them. That took a lot of effort for me. There's this somewhat big old maze in the middle. If you press A, you can attack. Just a little block appears in front of you. You gotta go kill the other team. Is one of my
Ow.
Oh, me dead.
one of my teams is dead. That's all there is to this game. Oh, I was God. Oh, I had another character. Nice. Oh, look at these
pro player.
pro gamer moves. Thank you. I thought of it, and then I was like, yeah, that's good. And then I never stopped to think if it wouldn't be good. Yeah, I had a lot of problems. What I tried to do initially was have like a swipe across the screen as like a little sword attack, and I got it working. It would go from -50 to 50 at 2 degrees per frame, and it was beautiful. And then I saw that if you turned, it would go from world space, whatever you were at, to 50. If you were above 50, it would just go from 50 to 50 and be there for a frame. And then when I tried to make it not world space, it would spin around you forever. And I didn't like that, and it was running out of time, so I made a block appear. That's all there is to it. I had a lot of fun. I learned how to do split screen, how to do controllers. I thought it was really neat to get to use different characters like this. And that's about it. If you want to try it, you can after, I think. All right, thank you. Sure, if there's any questions. I see a question.
Do you want to keep working on this now that the jam is over?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to get so the character models aren't just little cylinders. I want to actually make the attack work, and I want to build a proper map, because in like 10 minutes, I just got a bunch of rectangles there and dragged them to what I thought would be maze-like. There's also like the whole file on itch if you want to just look at the code or do whatever. What you got, friend?
So right now it seems more like you just grab 2 people and then you just go at it. Did you consider having a map with like points to control, so you would have to divide your people and conquer the map?
I didn't think of points to control. I did want it so that you would kind of move someone into a little sort of hidden space and then leave them there, go do something else, and since you only have the view of the person you're currently on, so you also got to be monitoring what they're doing. And I want it to be that you can, switch around to try and position yourself in good places. Something I didn't mention as well is if you're looking at someone, you move twice as fast. So I was like, if you're chasing someone, you can easily catch up. If you want, you can position people in places so you can zip across the map really fast. But I didn't get that far. Yes, dear friend Angelo.
Okay, 2 questions. Based off of what you just said,
Yeah.
if you're looking at someone running backwards, you also move twice as fast.
Yes.
Okay.
If someone is directly in front of you, as long as they're in that spot, you move double the speed.
And secondly, while you're trying to do input systems, did you try using the new input systems?
No. I was told that'd be so much better, but I didn't want to update Unity while I still have to use it for classes.
That's fair.
I figured once the semester's over, I'll try it with a new one, but it didn't happen yet.
Yeah, Unity.
Yeah, Unity Hub now allows you to switch between versions.
I've been duped.
It's how we do. It's how we have Project Monkey Butts and.
I've been using Unity Hub anyway.
Do you want to know the beauty of the newest version of Unity?
Please.
You can change the script and save it without leaving play mode, and it will make the changes like in game.
Nice.
Oh sweet. Oh thank
Yeah.
God.
That's great.
Cool.
That sounds
So update and get all the new stuff.
Nice. Do you know if the input manager is better? I heard it's better, but I
The
haven't
new
seen
input
it.
manager allows you to hook up Wiimotes.
It's beautiful.
I love it.
You can support anything that connects.
It's
Cool. Yeah, no, I still want to get like button mapping down because I was like, okay, if button 0 is A, what if a controller doesn't have that as button 0? Because I have like a Switch GameCube controller, and button 0, I believe, is Y, and
So the fun part about the new input system,
Yeah.
that's not an issue anymore.
no.
No.
It's all like. It's just.
It is.
Yeah, you know that learning experience you just had?
Yeah.
Screw it.
Really obsolete. Coming soon.
There's a VOD on our Twitch channel to look at where Angelo goes over it.
Thank you, Angelo.
Okay, good, we actually remember.
Yeah,
this.
no, because my only idea was that, because right now I have them, they're both using the same script, so I have it, you have an empty game object for the collection of them, and it tells you, and it has which player it is. And so it says, horizontal analog space player number, or current player. So you can put it on both of them, and depending on what player you set in the inspector, it'll use the same input. Or like in the input manager, I have it set so there's one horizontal input 1, horizontal input 2. It's just joystick 1 or joystick 2. You just have to tell it which one it's gonna be. And I wanted to see if I could get it so while it's running in game, there's like a function called move forward, and you can set it to whatever input you want. But I didn't get good at that.
That's exactly the new input system it is.
Oh, I love it. I don't have to do that myself anymore. Because I tried it for a minute, as you saw, but I didn't get very far. All I
But you
had,
learned.
all I have in the options is this.
You learned.
It'll set it like that, but it won't do much else. All right, that's all I have.
Okay.
I'm done now. Oh,
Beautiful.
It's not there.
it was like that
So
better.
you can set up your thing.
I'm not a pro gamer like everyone else.
You're not MLG. How's it feel?
I feel like it's rough.
This doesn't have a copy of Unity on it, does it?
No.
No. Okay.
But it runs,
I do have a build.
yeah, it
But
runs
the-
builds, but it doesn't have Unity.
Well, people will see why.
Exquisite. You did good.
I did good. I don't feel like I did.
I think you did good.
I think I
You
did.
did.
You did more than I did this time.
Where is it?
I did.
I got play from
I made part of the model.
Oh, that's good.
So I made the retail sales simulator game, which is basically auto chess in a sales environment. For people who don't understand what auto chess is, it's basically where you have a group of characters that you pick from, and then you put them on a grid and they battle it out. Okay? And next slide.
So, Black Friday simulator?
Yeah, pretty much. So, who am I? I am Jeff Rock. I am one of the heads at Blackline Games, a company that does not exist yet. I'm also the host and editor of Blackline Games. I'm currently a system admin student and was a game design student at NATE. The idea, which was genius, was to make an auto chess simulator game using Unity, finishing in roughly a month, using 3ds Max for models, and basically the way the combat was supposed to work was customers would engage with an employee, and the employee would engage in the skill check. The employee passed the skill check, the customer would pay. If you had multiple customers dealing with an employee, then you would end up in a scenario where basically the employee would end up overwhelmed. If you get 100% and overwhelmed, you would just go berserk and quit. Okay, simple idea. This is how everything broke down. So I got the spawn attributes to work, I got the create cursor movement to work, I had the employees on a grid working, I had the cameras between store and higher screen working. The only thing that didn't really work was I didn't generate the customers with movement and I didn't generate the HUD. So two of the most important things of the game. This is basically what happened. You can see the project started on the 1st, and then you can see everything going great, 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 oh God. And the end is not.
Coincident, Black Friday.
What was done was a lot of the location, the camera moves between the HUD and the location very simply. Employees will randomly generate with their own model attached to it and a texture as well. The controls are 90% finalized. I just need to do a little bit more tweaking using the new input system. Thank you, Angelo. And basically customize the game as well as the grid. Everything's basically done. So, time for a demo. There we go. So, you're not. So you can see basically if I move, I have 3 different models. Each of them have their own stats, including kindness, caring, loving, forcefulness. Ever gone to Best Buy? They usually max out their forcefulness. And you can see I did have a mouse movement working. Now it doesn't want to work for some weird reason. But there's a grid. Employees right here. You can move the employee onto a grid. Alt-tab, and Alt-tab. Now I do have one more thing. Over the summer, I usually, when we all go to our homes and loving families and stuff like that, I was working on another project. The project is basically a side-scrolling shooter called Project Monkey Butts. Right now we're developing it for PC mainly, but we are going to plan to port it over to mobile devices and also consoles eventually. We have a long way to go. So we have a video here of some of the stuff. So like I have randomly spawning asteroids, live system and everything like that. And I also have 2 bosses going. So this is currently the defense satellite, which spawns basically every single satellite is a turret, fires a turret, and it also rotates. Your objective for that one is to destroy each of the sides. If you destroy all the sides, then you can take out the main heart of the unit. And this is another one I've been working on. So if I run it, you can see every single unit is moving. We have a shield unit, we have a shooting unit, and then we have another unit. This is basically midway through development. Currently I'm only showing 2, but I got all of 5 done this summer. So, and the names of them right now are currently Project Monkey Butts and Project Monkey Butts Immortal.
Is the Immortal version for phone?
Immortal versions for phone. Everyone should get that reference. Yeah. Big brain thumb. So does anyone have any questions?
Why Project Monkey Butts?
So that is the original code name for Halo.
Okay.
So
Okay.
me being such a big nerd I went, well, artists usually imitate their favorite artists, so I decided to imitate my favorite artists.
So, for the retail simulator, what was like the end goal?
The end goal was to have a finished product.
I mean, like of the game, like the.
Oh.
How does it end, or what's
It either ends in one of 2 ways. You either lose entirely all your money,
right?
and you go bankrupt, or you succeed and you continue posting profits for a set period of time.
Are you gonna keep working on it?
I am gonna keep working.
I don't wanna see that.
Yeah.
You worked so long on getting those people like the random bits and great.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
Are you planning on making that like an actual auto chess where you fight other people, or are you planning on doing online stuff?
Eventually, given enough time and networking ideas, yes. That would take time.
Okay, you need to Wikipedia search mental poker, because that solves a lot of your problems.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, you Snapchatting me about mental poker.
I'm assuming that this is not an attachment for Unity at all.
No, you have to make your own thing, but essentially how do you make it so you randomly choose from a list of customers, and everyone, when they choose their list of customers, it's fair and also fits the way auto chess does it?
Yeah.
It's mental poker, and it sucks.
Okay.
Yeah. See, I was like Snapchatting him like, oh man, I gotta fix all my audio files. Blah. He's like, look at this bullshit, and sends me a screenshot of like Wikipedia page. You think you have a bad mental poker?
Anybody else have any questions? We're good? No. Cool. Come on, man.
What's next?
That would be me. I have no idea. I haven't tested my game with Xbox controls. Well, because it's a new input system. It shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't matter.
This system is like the godsend.
It truly is.
It, like the fact that it works so well.
Wait till you get to the new open source networking stack.
So if you
That is
chose
bullshit.
game that,
It automatically scales free.
if you chose.
The fact that you said the words open source network stack
Yeah.
leads me to be concerned. How Linuxy is it?
You have to use Docker, yes.
Why do you use know the answer to all the problems?
Because that's what I like to do. Anyways.
Alright, now I'm Adam. I made Split Second. It's a game where you control two things at once, but there's only one of you. Divide and conquer yourself. So,
This is a really good idea.
thank you.
Ooh.
Yeah, I got my logo. I'm fancy. All right. Oh, sweet, does work. All right. There is. Whoa, ooh, Mike. There is also keyboard controls alongside this. No tutorial for keyboard controls because I forgot. So there's that. I'll quickly run through you. Left analog stick controls the half circle on the left. Right analog half circle on the right. And you can use the bumpers to do a little attack with both of them. And the little red dots are the enemies. You can't really see it that well, but that says -100 score. And those sort of like star gem looking things, that's +100 score. You gotta get those. Get to the big, that says stars too. Wow, quality. This is the goal, not stars. You get to it, you complete the level. You gotta get both of the half circles in it. And you gotta also get keys to unlock the doors to get to the goal. So let's get to the game. There's also sound, but I guess not. There are 3 levels too. That doesn't matter, it's all like
sound last year a bit
free stuff. Alright, so we got that one. We got this one.
I can try and get audio.
You can keep on presenting. You have 1 minute and 47 seconds before
Right,
you
okay.
come in there.
Okay, so yeah, you collect all this. Everything's got sound effects because I'm cool. Basically, the biggest factor on what your score is in the top left, time's in the top right, and the biggest factor for getting a good score is actually your time, so that you're forced to use both characters at once. Oh, there we go. We got sound, and then it gives you a breakdown of your score. And now the other levels. So yeah. And then I originally had the enemies chase you, but that got overwhelming quickly with two things to control, so they just kind of wander. And that's the attack, so it like stuns them for a second, and then you go about your business, get that sweet key. You can also get hurt, and it makes a little ouch sound. And then there's a third level, which, no. There's a third level that you'll get to see if you come and play it. I'll show you now, you gotta play it. Oh, please play it. Snap. That's all. Anyone got questions? Yeah,
How is it actually using the new input system?
absolutely beautiful, a dream. Oh,
Just really built that.
it was so good, and like the keyboard controls just work unless you have a controller plugged in. If you have a controller plugged in, it kind of messes with it. I know why that is. I just didn't have time to fix it. But it's so good that I forgot about the keyboard, and it still works. Any other questions?
How much time did you spend on it?
Too much. Too much. Like all of my free time.
You had a lot of details involved, so that's good.
Yeah. I like polishing my shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I downloaded it and played it when you submitted it. I actually found that you could get a really high score if you just focus on one at a time and just speed run one half and speed run the other half.
I mean, yeah. I didn't have time to balance. I just made something that was playable
Yeah.
and looked decent.
It was like little enemy ball guys. How do you even move around? Using like a node?
Yeah, like a grid, like
Okay.
path nodes and
And it's
stuff.
like, go to here, now I'm gonna go over here.
Yeah, it's just move randomly because
Okay, fair enough.
chasing was overwhelming.
I like it.
Hell yeah. Anyone else?
Did you make the music yourself?
Hell no. I recognize it.
Okay.
Same here. Is that from Fate? Or
No, it's just I went and searched royalty-free music and found that. I browsed and was like, that fits.
yeah.
Sound effects are also royalty.
Yes. Yeah. Didn't make sound effects this time.
Do you want to keep working on it?
Yes, I'm definitely gonna keep working on it. It's one of the few projects that the whole way through I'm like, I'm having a great time with this.
Nice.
So yeah, I wanted to actually incorporate like a dash mechanic where you could like press like one of the triggers to like do a short like dash kind of like burst, kind of like what they got in Celeste. Didn't have time.
Is there anything else you plan on adding since you're going to continue working
A
on it?
lot of stuff, like puzzles, like proper puzzles as opposed to just move stuff. Some additional like depth, like I'd like it to be like floor based, where like you clear one, move on to the next floor, clear one, move on to the next floor, kind of thing. Yeah. That and skins, like customize like how the entire thing looks. 'Cause that'd be fun.
Do they do a thing if they come together?
I wanted to do that, but no.
Okay, I thought I missed something, but no.
No, I missed something.
You did good.
Thank you. Anyone else? Cool beans. Thank you for listening to the Madman Ramble.
I'll just open that back up.
Oh,
Thank you. I'm a fool.
Well, I think we got the other words. That was really good.
Good job.
You did good. You did good. Want
Now,
to someone with the
camera
camera or with showing the PC?
I'm still
Up until like a week before it was due, it was literally just like.
Oh, that's what happened.
It was just kind of like the stuff.
I haven't looked at all.
No,
so
like levels or
I hope it's nice.
It's fine. If you can manage this one, it's fine. It has way more options.
If you can make, if you can change inputs like mid-game, that would be wonderful.
And then basically what ended up happening was.
So, this game, yeah, it was Divide and Conquer. So I was thinking, well, I really wanted to do a strategy game, but of course those might take a while. So instead, I've been working a lot with audio in Unity, and I was really looking into trying to make a rhythm game. And rhythm games are particularly hard with Unity because the audio is not at all integrated with the normal systems. So you essentially have to look ahead and look behind you and check whether or not a beat has passed, and maybe more than one beat has passed, and you have to have multiple things happen. It's a big ordeal. So essentially what I was working on was making that entire system work. I did not think about how the game should run. So, it's a flawed game, but after I got the system working, I was quite happy. So this game runs with the two mouse presses, left and right mouse.
Yeah.
So, left mouse is kill or conquer, and right mouse is divide. And so, I suppose I'll just show you. Stephen.
Stephen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Stephen
see.
Anderson.
I see your rap. I just
Yes.
haven't heard your name.
All right.
Or maybe I forgot. I don't know.
First meeting.
Uh,
How did you get this sound like working? Because I've been trying to think of the same sort of thing, but I don't know where to even start.
Okay, so it's multi-layered. So I've actually made visualizers in Unity before.
Okay.
And so you can have multiple ways of doing it. A way I've done it previously was that I can get all the data of the song, and then I can look at the last beat or so, like however many indexes back, and say, okay, is it way higher? And so then I could assume there's a beat, which is not great, but you know, if you're just making a light blink, it's good. But in this case, I wanted something more precise. So I had to specifically use audio settings.dsp time, which is a completely different thing to time.time for some reason. And then I had to do the calculations with the beats per minute and the length of my song to figure out how long a beat is.
Okay.
And then I had to initially say, okay, how many times do I want to tick during that beat? And so I think I said 4 for that.
Okay.
And then you also have to look way ahead in time and be like, okay, in like 15 beats, there's gonna be a beat. So I need to have this line moving down at this speed from this position until it reaches 0.
Like different sections of the song, you have that like laid out.
Yeah, it's like
Oh.
so much forethought that that was all I cared about rather than the game.
The audio system has its own time
Yes.
tracker?
Yeah,
Alright, good. Well, sure.
I mean, I didn't make it. But yeah, so quite happy with that. Yes?
Do you want to have a talk? Because I think a lot of people would be interested in like learning about what you did. Would you be interested in talking to some of the club?
Well, I've also been interested in, I've been asked to do a presentation on particle systems before.
Good.
And I'm interested in that too, but
Do it.
yeah.
Thank you.
Not right now though.
Not right now.
Someone's gonna present. Anyway, anyone else? All right, thank you. Oh, sorry.
How long did it take you?
A week.
Okay, fair. Sure.
Well, I mean, as I said, I've made visualizers before,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
have to deal with it.
Fair, fair.
Yeah.
As far as layering music goes, do you have any intention of doing something like this again later for other ideas you may have come up with? Or
Yes, and I will do it better because I will think about the game now.
So the next game, as far as that goes, what's it gonna look like? Is it gonna be too different? Or?
I believe that the initial idea was it was going to be a woodcutter game where you're chopping wood to the beat.
That's really cool.
Yeah, but we also initially had the idea of it being a very pleasant and serene game, and so we're not sure how that would work. But yeah, interesting thoughts. All right, thank you.
Chair for this one.
Oh, we're pulling the chair.
Oh, he's gonna throw us all down the cliff stairs. Great.
No, I'm gonna actually fall over the chair and then I'll get out of this presentation.
Big brain moves there.
We all ready? Everybody good? Yeah. All right. My name's Joseph. I haven't shown up to club at all this semester. Very proud of that. So, my submission was One Night Ninja. And, basically I came into this game jam and I was thinking I wanted to do more with 3D character controllers and random generation. And so I came up with this. I'm just going to turn the volume down a bit because it's got music and I don't want it being louder than me.
Unlike mine. Couldn't even speak.
Yours is really good.
Yeah, but you know, I also want people to listen to my music, so
Yeah.
I have to shut up.
This is a presentation.
We've got music, but we don't have any sound. I'm going to turn that up actually a little bit. So, this game is One Night Ninja. Basically, you take the role of a ninja and you belong to everybody in the land into their rooms. And then you're going to go through one at a time and kill everybody. You essentially divide them up before you conquer them. This map screen doesn't scale properly, but you can see you're moving from your destroyed village off to your first fortress. And then when you actually end up in the game, you start off in a room. I did all the modeling, and as you can tell, it's not the greatest.
Awesome. Yeah, way better than I can do.
It is animated. You can jump around, you can double jump, you can attack, and you can throw knives. You can also dash, which is really fast. I need to turn that down. The really cool thing is if you dash into a wall, and you can also throw knives from a wall. Spider-Man. Exactly. You're the friendly neighborhood ninja spider. So yeah, it prompts you to open the door. Yeah, those doors are gigantic.
Or it's just a very small ninja.
Yeah.
You're just Ant-Man ninja.
So you open up the room, and you might not like the looks of it, so you turn around to leave, but the door is locked behind you. It forces you to go in and deal with anyone you open. Just sit down. And when you step in, the door shuts behind you, enemies spawn, and they go to deal with you. We've got archers, and we've got our generic ranged guy. The feedback from my friends playtesting it is you can't really tell when you're damaging enemies. But whatever. I was actually really happy with how the firing animation for the archers turned out. The arrow even appears in his hand, so it isn't there all the time. That took a really long time to figure out. Once you clear the room, just the doors open and you can continue exploring around. So I'll take a look around and see if I can find some of the other cool stuff in here. The game is actually very easy, if you can't tell. Most of the time dashing onto the wall doesn't help a lot, it just means you're staying still for the archers to hit you. I wanted to have some mobility in the game, but it's actually harder to do anything while you're moving. So in here we see a treasure chest. This game is sort of like Risk of Rain in that you can open chests and get stuff that give you more powers. So for example, this here reduces your dash cooldown by 10%, which means you can dash more often, obviously. Unfortunately, the dash doesn't work properly, or I suppose I should say the cooldown doesn't work properly. If you continue running after you dash, you can't actually dash again until you stop running. This music is all royalty free as well. I was listening to it and I was like, yeah, let's put this in the game. It seems like a good idea. I'm just going to explore around until I find the flag for the next level. There were actually a lot of cut features in the game because, as I'll explain afterwards, November was a bit of a busy month, but not for schoolwork. I've already lost where I am in here. A mini-map was one of the planned features, but as we can see, there is no mini-map. It was one of the features that I had to cut. Also, the animation loop for throwing knives while you're running doesn't quite work properly, and he kind of skates on one leg. Basically, you want to go as far from the entry room as possible, and you might find that it's enough by people like this. There's only so many rooms that can spawn, so we're going to find it eventually. I guess I can take some questions while we go looking for it.
How long did this take you to make?
It took me a couple weeks, and most of that was in the 3D modeling and animation because I'm not an artist.
Okay.
So here we have another chest. This one increases your maximum amount of dashes, which is a cool idea, but dashing isn't really that great at the moment. It looks like I'm getting some lag here when I look in the middle of the room, so I guess I could deal with some optimization. Finding everything but the exit. This upgrade here gives more maximum health.
Was one of the inspirations Binding of Isaac?
Absolutely. Could you tell from all the square rooms that were joined by doors? I basically wanted to make like a 3D roguelike, as I said. Wanted to deal with some random generation as well as 3D character controllers.
Did you decide on this aesthetic because of the royalty-free music that you want to use?
Hey! I just wanted to do something with ninjas.
Nice.
And so, one of the cut features was bosses. As we all know, roguelikes have bosses. This one does not. It's a new feature I'm testing out. So instead, you just hit E on flag, and it'll take you to the next dungeon floor. We get to go back to our nice little map screen and watch our guys scurry around. We do get different music for each floor, but each floor is basically the same due to time. You may have noticed that every single room has been the same so far. So, I'm just gonna sit here and wait for these guys to knock me down. I realized afterwards that I did leave in the negative health button.
I mean, you are very dead.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
negative health makes sense.
And then it kicks you back to the main menu. If you were to start over, you wouldn't have any of your upgrades, and you'd have to go from the start. And I've got a nice little how to play section with the story.
Nice.
So, that's One Night Ninja. Any questions?
Stop shaming me.
So how do you have the rooms laid out? Are they in a grid and you're just kind of setting and not setting doors, or are they actually like?
It actually generates the rooms when it loads the level.
Okay.
And there's a whole room legality system. Basically, when it spawns a room, if it hasn't spawned the minimum number of rooms, it looks at how many exits it needs, and it'll spawn that +1 at least. That way you don't run into a case where your dungeon just spawns with 4 dead ends and then that's it.
Oh, okay.
And so each room takes a look at what rooms are around it, and it comes up with this legality matrix of I need a door on this side, or I can't have a door on this side, and then it generates rooms until it fits. Then it generates the hallways between rooms.
Cool. I think Angela, I already asked one.
What did you think of the theme, like, in general?
So I came into this kind of already thinking, I want to do something like this, and then the theme came up. Like, the last couple themes were learning and
Secret base.
Yeah, secret base, and I thought, those are pretty generic, I can fit those in pretty easily. Then Divide and Conquer came up, and I was like, that's not so generic. So I was sitting around with my friends, and we were trying to come up with gameplay systems that would make it fit. We were thinking, like, enemies were stronger when they were near each other, and you had to throw a flash bomb to separate them. But as we thought about that, we realized you'd just throw the flash bomb, you'd fight one guy, and then you'd run away until it comes off cooldown, and that isn't necessarily fun gameplay. And eventually I thought, you know what, I'll just put it into the story. I'll let the story explain it away.
It counts. What'd you learn doing this? Because you said you're not an artist, but apparently you have used 3D modeling and animation stuff before. Is there anything brand new for you that you learned?
So I really need to learn blend trees, because each of those animations is one of their own things. And so I have this horrible looking animation web in Unity. I do not want to show it, it looks horrible. I was actually in a house class earlier today in portfolio development, and I was talking about this game. Did you know, or I guess I'll start with what the problem was. The way that I calculate throwing knives, I guess I might as well start it up. I can show you an example while we're going. But there's the crosshair in the middle of the screen, but your knives don't spawn in the middle of the screen. So you have to do some vector math to figure out how to actually get from the spawn point to the target point. This changes based on how far away your target actually is, because again, your vector's going to be different. And so what I ended up doing was having a raycast forward from the lookout point above the character, and then I would take that point as the end point, and the knife spawn location as the start point, and I would get the vector from there. So for example, if I throw a knife right here, it hits there. If I throw a knife from the roof up there, it hits there as well.
Because it's like spawning from where his hand's like up here.
Yeah. But the problem I was running into is while I was stuck to the wall, if I threw a knife, it would fly off the left side of the screen or the right side of the screen. And so what was actually causing that is I have a trigger in the middle of the room that's used to detect players. And it uses uses that trigger to determine when to lock doors and when to spawn enemies. Now, apparently, physics.raycast interacts with triggers, unless they're on the ignore raycast layer. Exactly. But did you know that if it's inside the trigger, the raycast doesn't interact with it? Yeah. So I just in the middle of the room, and I was throwing knives, no problem. And then I attached to the wall, and it would be off center. And I was saying, "There's something wrong with my wall code. I don't know what's going on."
So which way do you want to fix it? You put it on the raycast layer?
Yeah.
Because
That's good.
Yeah. Okay.
What were you gonna say?
No, there's like 3 different ways of fixing it. All of them are bad.
Okay. Yeah, I ended up putting all the detection systems onto an ignore raycast layer, so it didn't mess with the actual knife trajectories. That was one of the major things that I learned. Again, random dungeon generation was another one. I'd done a little bit of 3D modeling before, and this is literally the 3rd human model that I've made. Maybe the first one with actual animations. So I got to have fun doing that, I guess. About as fun as it can be.
Did you also generate the rooms randomly, or were the rooms themselves a fixed thing and you just randomly generated what's inside?
So, I'm gonna answer it the way I think you asked it. When I built all the assets for the game, I built them in tiles. And so when I went to build rooms for prefabs, I took all my wall tiles, my floor tiles, and I just put them together in a way that looked nice. And then I just had that as a room.
Okay.
And it pulls from an array of rooms for randomly generating, and it knows what sides have doors, yada yada. I could make a room that's a plus shape. All I need to have is say it has a north door and it has a south door. And then it would fit into the random generation just like that.
Okay.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, okay, like the walls. Are you generating the walls, or are the walls already there? Kind of the thing.
Sorry.
You okay?
Oh, I'm supposed to trip over my chair.
Oh. Yeah, started.
The magic's gone.
Yeah, it's
Holy
no worth
crap.
it at this point. Anything else? Okay.
Wait, this not keep going. Are you going? You presented?
Yes.
Yeah. There's 6 people?
Yeah.
Nice!
Alright, so
So go back, go back, and your divine sign. There you are.
so our game, so I'm sure you guys have seen those idle clickers on the App Store. But what if
That's loud.
that is loud? It's a little loud. I don't think I can talk about that.
I love it.
Yes. By the way, this is all music's all free. We don't do audio.
What's your names?
Jonathan.
James.
There you go.
Where's Jordan?
I don't know. Jordan.
I'm not sure either.
Who ain't Jordan?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, right you are.
So we actually got 2 levels down. Managed to do the second level in like less than a week.
The second level. So is that in less than an hour?
Okay, there you go. So it's basically just pretty much just whack-a-mole. You got little slimes floating everywhere, you just click them, and then they'll split, and then just keep doing that until like the screen fills up with slimes. And if the screen fills up with slimes, you lose. And whatever your score is, that's your high score.
Green slime.
He's thick.
Yeah, so we also have different kinds of slimes, where the green one splits a hell of a lot of times.
Red one.
And then you got a red one which zips around the screen and it's really hard to catch. Try to catch the red one. Yeah. It's really annoying. The green one, the green one spawns multiple times. We also have rare like metal slimes or gold slimes, which take a lot of kills or a lot of taps to kill. And yeah, you just keep going at it until you lose. There's a little bar here that fills up as more slime spawn. Let's try it.
There's no fall on the screen.
Yeah, there you go.
It's in display.
integration.
What those slimes do to you?
They exist.
But look at them. They just keep
That's like
multiplying.
asking
That's
the
gonna be a
question,
problem
Nathan.
soon.
We don't ask that question.
So what's the overflow meter on the left?
That's
Basically your health.
Oh, okay.
So once that fills up, that's pretty much when you lose the game.
No, another red slime.
I was hoping it'd be like Risk of Brains and the bar fills up and a boss appears.
Maybe we could add that.
Make a slime.
That'd be awesome.
We have lots of plans for this game. You can add like bigger and bigger slimes.
More slime ties.
Even more colors.
Just
I want a pink slime.
Yes.
Oh, we'll have like rainbow slimes and all the works.
I do want
Can you have an RGB slime?
Slime from another
Yes.
world.
So it's a slime.
Does this not look like Rimuru? Does it not look like Rimuru? Is it not killing me?
It will.
Oh.
And there you go. And then you lose.
Oh, so good. the music just cuts. It's like, no, you get no more music.
We also have a build for this for Android, which is also on itch. So if you guys want to download that, do it up.
But that's basically it.
Yeah, oh, show the winter level. So, yeah, the winter level we made really quickly, and I basically just threw on.
Oh, that snow is so hard to see.
Yeah, I know. Yay! I basically just threw on Santa hats on the slide.
It's beautiful.
It was Christmas, you know?
That's beautiful.
Oh, they
Oh,
have
yeah,
hats.
That's right. The hats do split.
Also, everyone doesn't have a hat. What's the whitest game I've ever seen?
I was only able to get it for the.
Only the little one gets hats.
Well, I mean, they're just they spawn those, so.
The green one's too big for the hat.
Yep.
The green ones are the Grinch. The red ones are Scrooges.
I want to see if we can get a metal slime to spawn.
So,
It could take a while.
That could.
is the overflow meter based off of half the number? So the more smaller ones are, the bigger it gets, or is it like a score?
It's just the total, like, it's just the number of slimes.
Just the number of items on the card.
Yeah.
Items. Objects. Okay.
Yeah.
We start destroying slimes instead of disabling them.
Like,
Because we start destroying slimes instead of disabling them.
yeah, they just
Okay.
Because I think over
No,
time,
actually,
having thousands and thousands of
Disabled
disabled game objects does.
I did.
Does slow down the game.
Does make the game run slower.
Yeah. I mean, there is definitely a much better way to, I guess, make it more modular, or more efficient. But at this point, we kind of just gave up because we had time.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep. I don't think the metal slime or the gold slimes are gonna show up. It's like 1 in 100.
Really? That
Yeah.
was a 1 in 10 when we play test.
We wanted to make sure they worked. Yeah, that's pretty much our game. Questions?
Playing it right now.
Yeah, just.
Awesome.
Yay!
There you go. By the way, the mobile is easier because, well, it's a smaller screen.
Okay.
So we made it a little bit, or I guess we changed the how many slimes can be on the screen at once. Because I think on the computer you can have like 100. I think it's 100 or 150 slimes.
And then on mobile we have like 40.
Yeah, 40, 50, something like that.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's just pretty much just a fun game. Just keep tapping your phone, or break your mouse.
So I'm curious, did you make a new sprite for every single different color?
Oh no, I made a like a blank sprite, so like it's just white.
So
and
you're
I
just
added.
tinting it.
Yeah, we just tinted it.
Eventually, we will try to have like other enemies, so like maybe goblins or something.
Will the goblins try to steal the slime or something?
Yeah,
No,
or,
you just kill a mass amount of goblins instead of slimes.
or maybe kill both.
That could work.
Goblins can feed the slimes.
How long did it take to make? Like, how long were you working on it?
We finished like 3 days before the deadline.
We finished 3 days before the deadline, but the amount of work we actually did was like
Probably
really
like
small.
2 weeks worth, maybe.
Maybe for I think that programming took like a day.
Okay.
I mean, there's not much to it.
I went back and forth on the yard.
Yeah, I mean, like with the
Mobile build times take a while, so I can believe that. Yeah.
I mean, with programming, I mean, you're just spawning. It's pretty much just spawn enemies, and then just every time you click, you destroy them. It's not too much coding involved.
but it looks fun.
It is very fun. Our number one fan right there. Quietly tapping.
How'd you come up with it? Like, what were your ideas?
So-
when you got to this?
We got the theme divide and conquer. We had no ideas what to go with. We just juggled ideas, and somehow we got to, hey, let's do something with slimes. We divide them, right? Well, let's just divide all the slimes.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it came to be. Like slimes split up.
Anything else?
Questions? No?
How much bigger do you want to make it? You say you want to keep working on, but like how much more do you actually want to put in?
Maybe a couple more levels, a couple more like slime types.
It's kind of around this.
Maybe like
Number
maybe
one in the
more.
App Store levels.
Oh, how many environments do you want in this? Sorry.
What's up?
Just saying.
Maybe we'll have some leaderboards, so we see how long people actually last.
We wanted to add skills, I think.
Oh yeah, we do want to add skills. So if you like swipe along the screen, it'll like kill the slimes in that path, along that path and stuff like that.
So there'll be abilities and other things that you can get.
Yep. Yeah, that's it.
That's great.
I mean, it's probably safer. You're probably not gonna break your phone.
I'm proud.
589.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's all we get.
Okay. I don't think we even lasted that long.
I can teach people the new input system. That's what we do for now.
Oh, you get the gold slime. Gold slime. Gold slime. Gold slime. Gold slime. It does exist.
I love this. I did get metal slime when
And you rumble.
Gold or is it silver?
There's a metal.
So good, I love it so much.
So, either. Alright.
What? Hey guys, friends, I found a quick problem. It says press back or escape.
There's the back button on the phone.
Not on that.
There.
Oh, is it not
you should look
working?
at-
It's not working.
There's no-
No.
You should look at.
You're getting over it forever.
Game jam. I just want to let you know so you're not just like, yep,
It
nothing.
depends on the phone.
Look at
Yeah.
that.
And there are buttons.
Oh.
Yeah,
I know, like, pretty much a big check.
unless you have it.
Yeah.
active.
They have this stupid face on them.
You can get that beautiful. I can just reload. There you go. Oh, you did amazing.
So those were some pretty amazing games that we saw, eh?
Totally. I loved all 6 of them. Didn't you? Oh, I loved all 6 of them. Didn't you? Every one plus 1.
Get your hands off that mic.
Out my ear.
Can you hear this? Can you hear this, Nathan?
Can you hear my hands?
I'm being bullied right now.
No bullying.
Okay. Calm down.
Maybe a little.
So yeah, we've got 2 more hours. Of course, you don't have to stay for all that, but we've got this. Yeah, we've got this room for 2 more hours. So if anybody would like to come on down and try some of the games. Plus one.
Playtest?
Yeah, playtest.
Do we keep streaming?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
Let's
know.
cut there.
See friends play games and be excited.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And who wants more punch and pizza? I think we still have some left over.
We have.
A lot. By some. Yeah.
I keep forgetting how large the Nest pizzas are.
They're mainly just bread.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I've eaten bread.
They're free pizzas, but they're also just bread.
I
Yes.
feel like we could be good for next showcase to just cut that in half.
Never cut it in half.
3/4. We'll try to
Donate
save
it
it
all
down.
to the homeless.
And I mean,
You charge them like $50.
Or you charge me nothing.
For the rest of the year.
that's okay. Bring it back.
Thank
Who
you.
wants pizza from last time?
I think I'm gonna take it up.